Good evening, ladies and gents. If you can hear my voice and you can see my screen, please do raise your hand in the Zoom application so that I know we're in business. Nico, thank you very much. Evening, ladies and gents. It is the 23rd of February, 2022. Njabulo Nsibande here. So kicking it off, going straight into it. So I got stopped a couple of times this week. Let me. Okay. So I got stopped at Astral Foods. That proved to be a false breakout. Came back straight to below the 50-day exponential moving average, and I got stopped there for a quick 1% loss. 1% loss there. I also got stopped out on BHP, rather on Discam on that collapse there. I made a small profit of around 2%. And if you'd remember the corporate action on BHP, so it moved to the Australian exchange with big markets. So I decided to exit the position because I can't trade a stock that is off schedule with our market. So yeah, I finally I remembered in the morning to exit the position. And on Monday, Valentine's Day, I got stopped out on Richmond, yeah, for a small loss there, and I also got stopped lastly on Aspen. But Aspen is having it had it held the 200-day exponential moving average, had a doji yesterday. I'm waiting now for it to come back above the 200-day, rather above the 50-day exponential moving average, and then I'll rebuild this position again. I'm still liking Aspen. I'm still liking Aspen quite a bit, so I'm going to take one last shot at it. So I did the only position that I added, but we'll see as we move along. I added today was on African Rainbow Minerals. So my first open position here is on APSA. Looking very nicely. Banked today moved quite nicely to the upside. I suspected that it was going to retest that uptrend support line there. If you zoom out a little bit, you can see that uptrend. It used to be resistance. I suspect it was just coming back to retest it. Waiting for it to come back above 182. Then I'll raise my stop loss slightly to 165 there's about, and then continue to wait on the sidelines for a higher break. African Rainbow, so it broke that support there with a golden cross at the back of it. So I started building a position, putting on a 1% risk on African Rainbow. Platinum stocks are looking, PGM stocks are looking pretty good. I think that's because platinum itself is moving quite good. We'll get to the platinum chart in a moment once we're done looking at the stocks. Likewise, Implats moving nicely, tested that old support there a little bit. I'm waiting for it to close through that, what is it? Is it 2000? Zoom in a little bit. 2009. Once we get breakthrough 2009, I'll raise my stop loss to around break even and add to this position. Guys, if you have questions, feel free to pop them in, either in the Q&A box or the chat box. Anglo Gold again looks like the breakout in gold looks to be holding, looking quite decent at the moment. Waiting for it to come through that 352 level. If you can break to 352 level, I'll raise my stop loss perhaps to around 320, 321. But we'll reevaluate once we get there. Balo, I think I'm gonna get stopped out on this one. It broke right through to excuse me, to the right through the 50-day exponential moving average. So I think I'm gonna get stopped in this one. Bet, nice doji yesterday. Nice doji with a gap and a follow through. Today. I'm still waiting for it to come through that 709 level. Once it can come through that 709 level, perhaps I'll raise my stop loss to around 672 and then add to my position. Think this, if you look into the weekly chart, that 709 level is a very significant level. If we can break through that level, man, I think we off to the races. And I think perhaps maybe that level, 732, is looking very nicely. 732. Once we break 732, man, I think we'll really see the stock really start to run. But yeah, looking really good at the moment. On Big Cup, I think it came really close. It missed me by a few cents, man. Let's see. What was the low of today? 325 cents. It literally missed me by 5 cents. That was pretty close. I think I'm getting stopped on this one tomorrow. Bidvest still pulling back. It's still pulling back. Looks like it's not respecting that at the moment. Let's see if it will respect that 201 level. If it respects that, that's lekker. Waiting for a turn back above that 220 level. Capitec, it had a sense of breaking out at points in the day today, but closed straight below the triangle's resistance. But I'm waiting for that 2174 level. If I can break 2174 level, I'll raise my stop to just below those lows there, or perhaps right at the break even and add to my position. On clicks, looking quite nicely. This is still a worrying bearish flag happening there, but the uptrend support is holding quite nicely. I think today we close just below that 50-day exponential moving average, just by, I missed it by a few cents. Literally missed that by 2 cents. We missed the 50-day exponential moving average by a couple of cents. I'm waiting for it to come back above the 306, and then I'll also slightly raise my stop loss to just below those lows there, or perhaps just wait for that 320 break before I do anything with my stop loss. Discovery moving nicely again. Markets are memory, man. Markets are memory. Markets have memory. Remember that 168 rand level there. So I'm just waiting for it to break. The moment I'm just waiting for that level to break. If it breaks, I'll raise my stop loss to just below the 50-day exponential moving average at 152 and some change. But I'm also looking at, let's do that a little bit, at that 158 rand level for stop loss. Next, Exaro. Looking quite nicely, moving into a higher box. Found a bit of selling at that old high there. I'm gonna wait for a new close high, and then I'll raise my stop loss ever so slightly behind me. But I want to keep it at a distance for now. I want to keep my stop at a distance for now. I still don't trust Exaro. But if it starts to show signs of really breaking high and starting to move, then I'll start to tighten my stop and build up that position. As I said, banks had a good day in the sun today. Nice bullish engulfing candle today with a doji there, looking very, very nicely. Still waiting for that 67 rand level. At this point, I raised my stop loss to just below the doji and that bullish engulfing candle around 63, 65. Won't be aiding at that point, but I'll be quite close to break even on that last trade. For Shini, still found a bit of selling there at 141. Unsurprisingly, that's a significant level. But we have a golden cross at the back of us. I think the stock will come back to retest that 50-day exponential moving average. You know, the phenomena, the first rally never holds. The first rally post the golden cross barely holds. So I think we'll see a retest of that 50-day exponential moving average. And then when it breaks back above that 141 level, I'll start raising my stop loss again and look for opportunities to add to my position. We have a nice ascending triangle pattern. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4th. Usually on the 5th wave, that's where the breakout happens. I'm waiting for a breakthrough that 88 rand level. If I can break 88, I'll raise my stop loss to around 83 rand there and some change. Just below the 50-day exponential moving average on Glencore. Looking very nicely at the moment. Goldfields, looking quite good, looking very, very good, benefiting from the gold prices. Waiting for a close through the 215. Let's jump back into the weekly chart and have a look at that. At that level, you can see how important that level was. So if you can break through 215, I'll start to add to this position. Impala also benefiting from platinum prices, rising steadily. Nice golden cross there. It's been moving quite nicely. I'm waiting for a close through that 265, about 15 rands away or so. If we can close through 265, I'll raise my stop loss and perhaps add to my position. Investec looks like it's a lagger of the banks. It was pretty much flat on the day, although it was up, but it was roughly flat. Still holding that 50-day exponential moving average. I'm just waiting for it to come back above that 94 rand level so that I can raise my stop loss and add to this position. Liberty, looking quite nasty. Looking for a pullback. I'm just gonna wait for it to make a new high again, and then I'll raise my stop loss to the low of, that swing low there. Mr. Price is looking fairly good. Looking very, very nicely. I'm waiting for it to come back above the 225 level. So if it can come through above 225, I'll raise my stop loss, perhaps around below that 50 exponential moving average. But for now, I'm looking at the doji, putting my stop loss just below the doji there. MTN, interestingly, looks like sellers ran out of stock yesterday. I saw when I was looking at the market depth, I saw a few big orders that traded at the closing auction again today. A big order, about 900,000 shares traded at the closing auction. I suspect those were buyers as well, because I can't tell whether it was buying or selling of who was crossing the spread rather on that trade. There was massive trades coming in, but today's candle engulfing 1, 2, 3, and maybe 4 candles. Very, very positive, but I think that 193 will still hold for now. I think we're going to have to wait for something like a cent announcement for the stock to break higher. But if it breaks 193, I raise my stop loss to call it 173 and add to this position. I think I'm going to put a 10% position on the breakthrough, a 10% risk rather on the breakthrough that 193 rand level. Netbank looking bouncing off back into the higher box. Generally speaking, banks were moving nicely today. So if it re-breaks back above 217 on the higher box, I'll raise my stop loss to around break even and add to the position and wait for it to continue to move higher. Northern, we have a golden cross again. It's been dead for a while, man. It came close to stopping me out a few times for 2 whole weeks. Um, uh, 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 but I hit my stop quite well. So I'm waiting for close through that 240. If we can break through 240, I'll raise my stop and perhaps add to this position. Rembro, moving nice doji yesterday. Nice doji, still flirting with the higher box. So I wanted to make to close through that high there. If we can close through that high, I'll raise my stop loss to around the 50-day exponential moving average and add to my position. Nice little reversal doji at the support on Red Merchant, looking very, very nicely. I think we're going to see another ascending triangle pattern bouncing off at the top of that higher box. I'm waiting for it to close through, then I'll raise my stop loss to just below the 50-day exponential moving average, and then add to the position. Sanlam, looking nicely, nice golden cross there. Found a bit of selling. If you zoom back a little bit, you'll see some resistance there. And I think if we can break that, we'll be off to the races because there will be fewer and fewer people sitting at the loss at that point. Sapi, coming back to retest that old resistance there and held it quite nicely, waiting for it to come back above 55 Rand 45, at which point I raised my stop loss to just below that low there. Sasso looking very nicely. So yesterday it broke out on of the bullish flag. Following that doji candle, I think the situation with Russia and oil prices will boost the if the oil prices continue to run. I think Sasso will easily break the 350, that 353 Rand level. Cetrix. So it came basically close from stopping us out to traded for good parts of the day below the 30-day exponential moving average until right before the close, and it pushed back higher, closing back above that 50-day exponential moving average. So again, think if we can break that 70 Rand 30 level and make new highs, we'll see the index start to run. I think the weight on Nasdaq is quite heavy at the moment, which is why the index isn't going very far. ShopRite, looking quite. Let's do that and put that back through there. So ShopRite is fairly strong at the moment, and its competitors are weak, making ShopRite even stronger. So if you can come back above that old resistance there, above 236, I'll raise my stop loss and add to my position. Liking this trade quite a lot on ShopRite. Standard Bank. Again, markets of memory, man. Once we revisited that 165 Rand old support, man, the stock just bounced right back down. So I'm gonna wait for 171 to break, and then I'll add to my position, which jump back to the daily chart. I raise my stop loss to just below the doji there, and perhaps not add to the position too soon. Transaction capital. Nice doji yesterday, but still having a tough time with that 50-day exponential moving average. The tug of war still continues. So waiting for it to come back about 46, at which point I'll raise my stop loss just below those lows there, just below the doji. And the price that I'm ultimately waiting for is at 50 rand and some change. Truwards, it had a nice strong break, came back to retest that old support there, so it's still at a nice buy. If you're using a tight stop, you can put it there, but I don't trade along those lines. So if it takes out that high low, I'll raise my stop ever so slightly behind me, keeping the 50-day exponential moving average in mind. And last but not least is Vodacom. Looking nicely. I think it's a sympathy move as well, because MTN has run so hard. Some of the money is bound to come to Vodacom. So I'm waiting for it to close through that 150 rand level. There is my stop to just below the 50-day exponential moving average, around 140. There's about an add to the position. And that's it for my side today. If there's any question, feel free to pop them up in the Q&A box or the chat box. So I run a coaching session, a coaching friend of mine in the early hours of the morning. I do publish those videos on. There's a point where I'll stop publishing the videos on YouTube, but I publish our classes in the morning. So we do various exercises, around training the eye to see patterns, and then exercises around position sizing as well. Today was around market scan, and then we discussed how to respond to missed opportunities and that sort of thing. So if you're interested in that type of thing, the videos are up on the VillageTrader YouTube channel, and today's session as well will be up on YouTube. And if for those who are going to be watching later, if you're not subscribed, do subscribe on the VillageTrader YouTube channel, and the bell notification so that you get notified when the videos are coming in. So Mario is asking us to look at Anglo. I'm liking Anglo a lot, man. I think let's look at gold first. Let's look at this gold price. Right, nice symmetrical triangle breakout, and that looks like a valid breakout. And I think if gold can take out 1983, we'll see gold really start to run. And the target for this is quite massive, man. It's above 2,000, and I think if we can get through those prior highs there, we'll start to run. And yeah, I think Anglo is looking very nicely. Anglo, let me go back. Anglo American. Yeah, I mean, this chart looks very. Let's do that. Let's put a. Let's. Okay. So that was a very significant level. That 34.11 level was very strong. I think we want to come back to retest it, and just to allow the 50-day exponential moving average to catch up. But I think I'm still quite bullish on. Let me bring back that. I'm still quite bullish on Anglo American. In fact, on gold stocks, I'm very bullish on gold stocks at the moment, with an exception on DRD. DRD and Harmony, man, they lagging the market quite significantly. And I looked at the results; they were just horror show. But we'll see. So at the moment, I'm liking gold stocks. as I said, with an exception on DRD on DRD and Harmony. If there's no more questions, we can park it here because I am not seeing any more questions. AMG, that's Anglo Gold. That's not Anglo American. That's Anglo Gold Ashanti. No, not that. Let's look at Anglo SA. So many Anglos on this platform. There you go, Anglo SA. There it is. There it is. My bad. My bad. Similar story. Similar story. I think it's a similar story. I think we're going to come back to retest that 698 level. But if I were you, I was going to wait for close through that 741. If you can break 741, and as a start, you can, just to give it a bit of room, 669 is a start, or perhaps if you are quite aggressive, 729. But it's a nice ascending triangle pattern. Right, a nice ascending triangle pattern with, if we place a target on it, it lands us at, so we get that, and let's duplicate it. There. Which gives us a target of around 820. I'm like. Unfortunately, there's no. I think I did try to get a CFD on it, but if it breaks, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot to see if the CFD is now available on Anglo American. Okay, cool, guys. I think we can park it here. No more questions are coming in. If you do, feel free to pop them in. Again, a reminder, if you want to check out the coaching sessions, the videos are up on YouTube. Check out my Twitter as well. Follow me there on Twitter at VillageTrader ZA. And remember, guys, if I do post every time I take a position, I do send an email. If you're not subscribed already to the VillageTrader mailing list, do subscribe. Otherwise, guys, have a great evening. Take care of your family, take care of yourself. Let's do this again next week. Cheers.